Welcome to the NBA Now and Then 50, 40, 90 interview series. Hey, what's good, everyone? I am Uriah here with Lucas on another episode of our 50, 40, 90 interview series, where we interview the shakers and movers within the global basketball community. What's going on, Lucas?
Hey, it's a Saturday morning. The sun is out. We are having a good Saturday.
The weather is breaking. Lucas and I are on the East Coast. Our guest that we have for us today is actually in a different country. I told you we're global, right?
Mm-hmm.
Today, we're here with someone who has a remarkable passion for the game of basketball, someone who's taking his experience and knowledge for the game, and he shares it with current and future generations of basketball players. We're here with Sherwin Vasallo. How you doing today, Sherwin?
I'm good. Thank you for inviting me to be a guest on your show. I'm pumped. You know, it's not often that a guy like me, where I'm from, will get invited to a global podcast. So,
well, we're glad to have you on. Absolutely, Sherwin.
Yeah, we are thrilled to have you on, and we follow you on your IG account, which was amazing with what you're doing with your training. And I have your official bio I'm about to read so that people can know exactly who they're listening to and where we get into our conversation. So Sherwin is the owner and operator of AP Baller, Acceleration Performance Training Facility, and Total Rehabilitation and Sports Injuries Clinic in Winnipeg, Canada. He is also the player development coach for the University of Manitoba women's basketball team, assistant coach and player development coach for the University of St. Boniface. Did I say that right?
Yes.
You did.
Okay. All right. So what I said, St. Boniface. I practiced it a little bit, guys, before we came on. He is the development coach for that men's basketball team, the youth basketball program coordinator for the IRTC Chiefs, and finally, the creator of the small ball training app. Whew. There's a lot, man. There's a lot under. You got a lot going on, man.
Got a lot cooking in the kitchen there, Sherwin.
And I was a little bit apprehensive of listing all those things, but I figure I should just give you the full meal deal.
Yeah, and we definitely want to let people know, whether they're in Canada or the States, exactly what you bring to the community. So let's get this ball rolling. So Sherwin, tell us where you're from and how you got into basketball.
Okay, so I am from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Now, for those that don't know where Winnipeg is about 2 hours north of Grand Forks. My roots are from Winnipeg, but I did live in Seattle, Washington for a little while, specifically Federal Way, and that was during my high school time. So, you know, I've been fortunate enough to live in both countries. I got to be honest, I love both. I can't say that I am partial to one, but I would love to live in Seattle again. The basketball journey, it's a solid journey.
Okay.
When my parents split, that's when I moved to Seattle. Being from Canada,
right.
I was basically born with a hockey stick. So my first love was not basketball, it was hockey. My older brother forced basketball down my throat. That's when I was like, you know what, I think I could really get this. And socioeconomic, situations, my parents couldn't afford hockey. Hockey is a very expensive sport.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine.
All you need
a lot of equipment.
Yeah, tons of equipment, tons of ice time you got to buy. Basketball, all you needed was a hoop and some shoes and a ball. I found that to be sort of helpful in developing my journey in basketball. I owe a lot to what my older brother did for me, because again, it just to give you a little bit of a deeper stuff. For a time, I didn't have a relationship with my father, so my older brother became my high school coach became that father figure, and used basketball as the life lesson vehicle.
Yeah.
So that is what basketball was to me and how I got in.
That's a really unique background, especially coming from Canada. I believe you're our first international guest, so learning, how basketball grew in your country is definitely a big deal. My follow-up question is, what was your experience like playing basketball at the college level?
I played 4 years for the University of Winnipeg. That was a life-changing experience in high school, obviously, I was here. I was very talented. I did not make my high school team in Washington, Thomas Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know the difference. I was a jock high school kid. Didn't really know the difference between JV and varsity. All you hear is varsity. You think A team. You don't want to play for the developmental. Meanwhile, JV is JV, varsity is varsity. But for me, I was just like, I'm not going for a B squad. Forget that. I'm going to try out.
Okay.
So I tried out. I was overwhelmed like crazy because I had, I'm going to age myself here. Do you remember Michael Dickerson? Does that sound familiar?
I do. It does sound familiar.
But I'm probably a lot younger than y'all. So,
so he was from that. That was the era in which I was going to high school there. He played for the Grizzlies, played for the Rockets. He was that guy. And not to say that we went to the same school, but they had in my school, we had guys just like, he was just down the street from us. He was going to Federal Way. I was at Thomas Jefferson. Guys like that. I'm going to inflate my height here. I'm about 5'8". So maybe 5'7". And he was doing things, and they had players that could do everything that I could do. So that sort of was overwhelming for me. I came from the guy to, no, you're not him. So
it happens.
Yeah. Just trying to fit in and find your role,
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Yeah. When I came back to live back in Winnipeg, I was going to high school at a lesser known place. And this sort of leads up to the university experience. I wasn't recruited. I didn't go to the right school. I tried to get to the right school, tried to transfer, but they have a no transfer policy, as in I think most high schools do. So I didn't actually play in grade 12. So now you can see all the chips are stacking against me. There's no way you're going to be able to play university basketball. So halfway through my senior year, nothing. I got no looks. I was on the blip. I was a blip in one person's radar, and he was an assistant coach at the University of Winnipeg. But that still didn't guarantee anything. I did not actually go to university after my senior year. I took a year off. I thought I was going to move back to Seattle. Mm-hmm. I thought that maybe I was going to actually play in BC, but that all fell apart. And I just decided to work for a year, then found my love for basketball again and trained like crazy, decided to be a walk-on
Wow.
with the University of Winnipeg. Again, another overwhelming experience because I am as short as I am. I didn't come from a strong background or a strong school. So what could I possibly bring to the table that this team would want? But miraculously, I made it. I was a full court defense type of guy. So I was given Alvarado type looks.
Alvarado, TJ McConnell, we got you.
Go.
We got you.
Sure,
we love our pass.
Yeah, and so that's the only way that I could that I figured I could make it is just pick up as soon as the ball is inbounded. That's it. You're toast.
Right.
Turn you 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Get. I think it's a 10 count in the States, but it's an 8 count here.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
Okay.
Okay.
Or get whatever steals I could get. So that was sort of my bread and butter, and it worked, and I made it. And that was, again, like I said, a life-changing experience because whatever I could do in high school, it was easy, but I couldn't do the same thing. So I had to change everything about from like my training regimen to my game to X, Y, and Z. Unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you, the obstacles that you overcame, not having your father in your life and obviously your brother being there to inspire you, as you said, kind of forced you into hoops, not being able to really play your senior year in high school, walking on to the university and then carving a role for yourself, for your team. So that was your college experience. Lucas and I and everyone listening wants to know because your IG account is amazing. You have great content coming out daily. Very inspiring. You train young people daily. So my question to you is, what made you want to become a trainer?
I actually didn't know I was going to get into the training world. My original goal in college was obviously to get a degree, but to get a degree in psych and then become a forensic psychologist. But the way it worked, and obviously little did I know that I submitted my preferred classes and then the coach would pick it. I didn't have to go and get in line. And this is obviously before online registration. So you physically had to go, and there'd be a long ass line.
I remember.
You'd have to register for your classes. So I didn't have to do that. Just submitted what I wanted, and then the coach would pick your classes.
Okay.
Little did I know he was picking classes in the kinesiology department because they didn't conflict with practice.
Oh,
So then 3 years later, I'm like, I'm ready to graduate. What is your major? I'm going, psychology and minor in criminology. Are you sure? Says the academic advisor. And I'm like, yes. Why? It's like, because all of your classes are in kinesiology. You might want to consider doing this. Get this degree here, kinesiology, and then pursue a career in that. And I'm like, what?
You knew what it was, right?
I don't even know what kinesiology is.
It's like your body. It's like the study of the body, right? Like movement and stretching and all that. Yeah. Muscles.
Yeah.
Okay.
For most student athletes, they're going there to play ball. They're going whatever sport they're in. They're not really focused on the academic portion of it.
Focus on hoops. Hooping.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was still believing that I was going to make some sort of pro league at that time, but I am thankful for what he did, even though it sounds terrible, but it's exactly what was supposed to happen. So that's how I got into the whole basketball training realm. So it wasn't, I always wanted to stay connected to basketball. I just didn't know. But my coach at that time, I guess he knew deep down somewhere, and here I am.
Here you are. So now that you're in basketball training, tell us, what is the most rewarding aspect of training your players?
Awesome question. Initially, it used to be I would have a young athlete. He or she would be, the 10th, 12th athlete. And then after some time of training, became the 6th or 5th or 4th or the person on their team. That was ultra rewarding. And this is, again, part of me always wanting more and more, regardless of what it is, whether it's, life, business, athletics. You always want more. You always want to strive for more. I found that obviously it was awesome. I loved it. That was rewarding. But what was the most or the ultimate reward was being able to see somebody that you had a hand in for development since whether they're grade school or high school, and you see them play basketball, go on to the next level. So now they're in university. Then you go on from university, they go pro. And then after pro, they become a solid contributor to society. And that is the most rewarding thing. And it doesn't happen often because you know how it goes. Life takes you in different directions. Could be a stud basketball player. Then next thing you know, you're unfortunate circumstances. But that is the ultimate in rewards, is seeing people become stand-up humans at the end of the day. Actually, one of my clients who I had trained since he was in grade 9, played university, played pro, the exact scenario that I had just outlined, or the steps. And now he's the player development and scout for the Pelicans.
Get out of town. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's
anybody that we would know. Can you name drop?
Yeah, Keith O'Meara.
Keith O'Meara. I am not familiar with that name. Uriah?
Yeah, Lucas doesn't know something related to the NBA.
I know.
Lucas is like a walking computer with all this knowledge of NBA stuff.
Where did he play college at?
Yeah, University of Manitoba.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
I do not follow Canadian colleges. That's probably I don't know. There's no shot there. I don't know.
Yeah,
but it sounds that's cool that he got to the NBA, man. I don't know very many people in there, so that's
it's rare, and especially in any capacity to make the NBA when you're from Winnipeg is rare. So it's awesome again to see that sort of development in any of my clients, the progression of their life, and that just makes me feel pumped inside.
That's awesome. As a former basketball coach myself, it is very rewarding to see players implement some of the skills and training that you passed on to them so that not only is your program growing, but their future becomes more attainable, whatever goals they set for themselves. You focus on also conditioning and strength for your players. Why is this aspect of athletics as important as the skill development that you give them?
I would love to take that particular question and then whatever comes out of this and just email this to all the parents in Manitoba or even around the world directly to them.
Yeah.
Because this is sort of the misconception with developing top-notch basketball players. Everybody thinks it's all about the skill. There was a quote that I can't remember the person who said it, but the best ability is availability. So let's take that strength conditioning aspect of development and put that into that quote. If you're often injured and you're on the bench, then what good is your three-point shot? What good is your Ezzy cross spin into an up and under spin or step through whatever counters you want to put in there?
Yeah.
You can't even walk. Mm-hmm. If you can't get off the bench, if you can't put your uniform on, because you're just not available. But again, time and time again, we see, okay, well, my son, my daughter, they need this, this, and this. They're a little too young to do strength conditioning. Meanwhile, they're in grade 12. Let's take that up even another notch. So let's just say you're not often injured, but you're just too weak, not explosive, not agile to pull off the moves that you want to pull off, but you can pull it off against the cone. No question. When you have somebody in your face, they bump you. They cut you off in your space. You're too weak. Mm-hmm. You get bumped. You lose the ball. You go up for a layup. You get bumped. You lose the ball. All of the things that the strength and conditioning aspect gives you complements the skill development. Again, a lot of the misconception is that people think that it's just to get strong or to build up your body in a bodybuilder sense.
Yeah.
But it's meant to complement all the moves that you're working on, all the skills, so that you can actually execute them in game. When you play high school basketball, you're not playing just against other basketball players. You're playing against multi-sport athletes. So you could have a person on there that is a volleyball player or a soccer player as their main sport, but they're good, they're athletic, that they can make the basketball team as well.
Yeah.
When you get filtered, when this whole process gets filtered, now you're playing university basketball. I always tell my clients when they're training at grade 10, grade 11, that I'm not training you for your next season. I'm training you for your future. I'm training you for next level basketball so that you are an impact player. But a lot of these players, they can execute anything that they want because they're not playing against all basketball players. Now you go into university, they're all basketball players. Yeah. They've been filtered. They are taking these schools are taking the cream of the crop in whatever region. And you can't do a hezi on somebody that knows a hezi inside and out. So what are you going to do? You have to be stronger because they'll cut you off. What's your counter to that? You got to be more explosive, X, Y, and Z. So that's why the strength and conditioning aspect is equally as important. I think as Brandon Payne, Steph Curry's trainer, best said it, that the easiest way and the quickest way to get somebody better at basketball is to get them stronger.
Absolutely.
And I know you said all the other stuff doesn't matter if you're not strong, but I am curious about the other stuff. So my question to you is, describe one offensive and one defensive drill that you think is essential for every basketball player to practice.
That is a tough one to answer, because I believe that there are so many drills that are beneficial for different aspects of the game. But I will do this for you. Everybody has a weak hand, and this is a drill that I've used since I was playing. So this is the offensive part of it.
Okay.
A lot of athletes a lot of basketball players always have a weak hand when they're first starting. Mm-hmm. What I would do is, obviously, on top of doing your offhand dribbling sequences, I would make players play offhanded or left-handed for the majority. So they are forced to. So it's a turnover if they use their right hand at all.
So even for shooting Or just dribbling?
Just dribbling. So they're
Okay.
going to go drive. So if you're going to go drive, you got to finish left. If you're going to set up your move, you got to set it up on the left side, or not so much on the left side, but with your left hand. But if you're going to take a midi or you're going to pop a three, then you can do it from with your normal shooting hand.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But now what I've done is, obviously the constraints force them to work on the weaknesses. Nobody wants a turnover, so they want to win. So now they got to figure it out. And they're doing some things that don't match the principles of the game. So, I mean, like, they will expose the ball with the left hand, because if they're going to try and drive right, and defenses will get wise to, well, they have the constraint. I can just keep them on the left or force them right and expose it. But that's just a part of the game. So then now they are so comfortable to be able to go left, right, and they'll still beat you eventually. Going with the left hand with an exposed ball.
Now, before you get to the defensive drill, I just want to say that when I was growing up as a kid, middle school, I remember after school every day practicing my left hand. And as I got older, I became not ambidextrous, but I was very comfortable going left as I did right. And there was one drill I did watch on your IG channel where it was like a rebounding drill. You were talking about what should a defensive rebounder do compared to an offensive rebounder. You have some great drills. I'm just letting you know you got some really great drills. So go ahead with your defensive drill. Sorry.
And then with the defensive drill, and this is mostly for perimeter, but it's not limited to, and especially with basketball being positionless, you'll have anybody and everybody picking up in the perimeter. So any defensive containment drill, I'm a huge fan of, but it's being able to pick up or apply pressure. Now, it's not so much doing the obvious defensive, like, for example, zigzag, but this is an unrehearsed zigzag. So what I'll do is I'll put them in a contained area, and the ball handler has to go from baseline to center, dribble however they want, but the defense has to stop them. Beat them to the spot, be physical. The reason why I love this drill is teaching kids the physicality of defensive play. Oftentimes we see a lot of number one, defense isn't really taught in skill drills. It's almost like it's a part of practice. We'll touch on it, but let's do our offensive stuff because it's way more sexy, way more attractive. You'll get more likes. But even in like skills training, there aren't a lot of skill or player development coaches that work on this particular aspect of basketball. So what we'll do is we'll teach them that, number one, they get the footwork, they get the physicality, but they also learn the mindset of being a top-notch defender. And if you're like my height, that's the only way you can compete.
Right.
Being a dog.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for any basketball player, any height, being able to stay in front of your man and anticipate, where they're going, using the baseline or the sideline as another defender. I'm sure you teach that.
Yeah.
All important. Defense, offense, like you said, offense is sexy, but defense is important. Like, I forget, someone said it recently. Offense sells tickets, defense wins championships. So we cannot dismiss the importance of defense in basketball. So the last question related to your segment has to do with this cool app that you have for your training. Tell us about the small ball training app. How does it help players improve their game?
I developed this app during COVID. I filmed all this, and I had all these ideas because obviously the gym was closed, the clinic was closed. I had all this time. Right. I had to figure out what I'm going to do next. And the whole virtual world was blowing up even more than ever. So I came up with this idea through obviously lived experience. When we talk about strength and conditioning for basketball players, in my world, a lot of the top tier trainers believe that you shouldn't chase numbers in the weight room, that it should be more about building relative strength, meaning be strong for your size. But that rule doesn't apply for anybody that is 6'2" and under, 6'3" and under.
Okay.
Because they don't have the luxury of using their length to see over the defense, to get around the defense. So what do they have to do? They have to use superhuman strength to compete. If you get posted up, this is one of the biggest things. You're a liability when you're on the floor, and they're going to target you. Can you maintain your position down low, or can you fight around in front, or are you just going to get bullied down low and then just get scored on the regular? That's why I created this app, because it's not the same for anybody that's undersized when it comes to their physical development. They have to train a certain way, a different way. And that's how small ball was essentially born, with that premise that you can't train like somebody 6'7". You have to train like you're 5'7". But you have to have super.
I wish that app was around when I was in.
I was just thinking that. Why are you stealing my ideas, man?
I mean, you're over 6 feet at least.
No,
I'm
5'11".
Okay, you look like you're taller than 6 feet, though. I'm 5'10", 5'9", and I had to play power forward and center in high school because I went to a small Christian school. So that would have been helpful back then. I mean, I still got by just fine, but might have got me to D3 college. Who would have known if I didn't blow out my knee?
Yeah, is your app? Is it a free app, or is there a small fee? Like, how's that work?
Yeah, so you can download a 2-week free trial, get a sample of workouts, see what we actually do on there, and then if you want the full meal deal, it is a 3-month program that you get to own afterwards. And
cool.
I believe you can do a one-time payment, or you can do a monthly payment. So again, 3 months, 12 weeks. That is all you'll need with this particular app to get you to be able to compete against bigger, taller, stronger, or not stronger so much, but bigger and taller athletes.
Cool. Hence the name Small Ball app. Yeah, we'll make sure we get that link and we can promote that. We have a blog and we're always on social media. So we'll definitely help promote that for you. But we're ready to switch gears. You guys ready for the NBA Draft Time Machine?
Of course.
Do it.
All right, let's do it.
And now, get ready for the NBA Now and Then Draft Time Machine.
All right, Sherwin, you are now going back in time. We're doing what's called the NBA Draft Time Machine, where we have 2 NBA stars from 2 different eras in the same draft class. Just for fun, if you were guaranteed that both players could have a decade-long career of equally good health, who would you pick? So, you ready, Sherwin?
I am ready.
Okay. All right. We're going to start off with Devin Booker or No Chill Gil, also known as Gilbert Arenas. Who would you go with?
Man, that is tough. I would go for Devin Booker. I think they're very good offensively. I think they're nuts in their game. But if I had to differentiate between one or the other, I'm going to take Booker.
Well, the next comparison we're going to do is 2 flashy point guards with their passing. And while they're known for some off-court stuff, nothing compared to our previous player here. Jason Williams or LaMelo Ball?
Man, I'm going to go with...
It's a...
Why'd you guys do this?
Because this is our content. This is what brings the people to the yard.
In the time machine.
I think I'm going to take LaMelo Ball. The reason being is he's longer, he's taller, defensively he's better. And I mean offensively, I think LaMelo has a little bit more game than J. Will. Not
like a better
the
jump
other
shot.
J. Will, but White Chalk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough. I think LaMelo is pretty popular among our other guests too. But how about this comparison? We have Draymond Green or Ron Artest, a.k.a. Meta World Peace. Who would you go with?
I'm going with Draymond.
Ooh.
Okay.
I think Draymond is a little bit more complete as a glue person when I hear Ron Artest, I think defensive specialist. When I think Draymond, I think defense. I think the intangibles of the game that he's able to execute as opposed to what Ron Artest did.
Okay. Fair enough.
Fair
I want
enough.
to throw another dynamic pair of point guards at you, and these guys are a little bit bigger than the average guy at this position. Penny Hardaway or Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I know SGA is a Canadian guy, so are we going to see a little bit of bias here? We'll find out.
Yeah, you are. I'm totally going to keep it SGA. Canadian. But aside from the Canadian in him, Uriah and I were talking about this earlier. He's just so precise with how he moves. He plays at his pace, and that is one of the hardest things to be able to do and even teach players is to that kind of pace. He makes everybody play the way he wants you to play, not the other way around. I gotta react to whatever the defense is. He's just like, I'll do whatever I want, and you got to react to me.
That's a great point. You just made me extra aware of how he plays. He does move at his own pace, and he lets the kind of game come to him, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah.
The fact that he's from Canada, I knew right away.
So is our next guy.
Yeah, our next guy. So we have our next comparison. All these are part of our comparison episodes, by the way. We've done
season 1.
From season 1. We'll have you back again in the summer to do some season 2 draft time machine comparison. So
awesome.
Who would you go with, Sherwin? Would you go with Jamal Murray, or would you go with Darren Williams?
I would actually go with Darren Williams.
Wow, going against your home country guy. Okay.
I know. And you know what? Like, for any Canadian, and even if it's, Jamal Murray is listening to this, I'm sorry. I was a huge fan of Darren Williams. He can play make and he can score. Whereas I think Murray is more, he can just score.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fair.
Yeah, Darren Williams, I think, was averaging double-digit assists for a while.
I mean, it was him and CP for a minute.
Yeah.
Getting on to the next one here. No Canadians this time, so you can't use that as an excuse here. Luka Doncic or Larry Bird?
I am going to, I'm going to have to say Luka.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I think you might be the first person.
You might be the first one.
Tell us why. I want to know. Let us know.
Well, we can't say that one is a better defender. I think they're both equally.
Yeah.
They're equal on the defensive end. Wow. I mean, and this is going to be weird for me to just try and break them apart. I just think Luka has more to offer. They're both IQ players. They're both good shooters, great shooters.
Yeah.
I think that just 0.5% up on athleticism for Luka.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
right.
It's nothing that's definitive. I think it's just more of a ask me tomorrow. I'll probably pick Larry Bird.
Yeah. Well, Larry, to his defense, I think Larry Bird in this comparison, we did flesh out some of his accolades, and he was an all defensive player at one point in the 80s when he was healthy, obviously. But you look at Doncic's game, like some of the passes that Luka pulls off, it's like, how does he make that pass? And Larry was a good passer too. I grew up watching Larry Bird in the 80s, and both great players. But let's move on to the next one. This next player just is ruled out for the season. Feel terrible for him. Joel Embiid, former MVP, or would you go with Hakeem Olajuwon? Remember, you get 10 years of good health, but who would you pick?
Yeah, I think I would go with Embiid. Now, Embiid is basically Shaq with a three-pointer. So, again, it's one of those things, ask me another day, I'll pick the other guy. But I think right now, just thinking in my head, Embiid is so big, so strong, and he can stretch the floor. So, I mean, if I'm going to be picking one guy in the draft, I'm going to be taking him because he can give me more options with what I can do on the floor with my team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
Embiid can do a lot. And as defensively dominant as Hakeem was, Embiid is pretty good as a defender as well.
When he wants to be.
Yeah.
When he wants to be. That being said, we're going to go to the point guard position now. We're going to go with the two guys that arguably have the best two handles in NBA history, with Kyrie Irving and Isaiah Thomas, the first one, not the one from 2015.
Yeah, this one I took this one apart because they are my two absolute all-time favorite point guards.
Okay,
but I will have to side with OG IT, because
of course,
I like that.
Because that was my idol growing up. I watched him. His handle was next level. But let's forget about the handles and comparing the handles, because they're both crazy. I think Kyrie is a better scorer, but a better leader, a better passer, better playmaker is Isaiah. I watch Kyrie, and looking at your list, I looked at highlights of Kyrie, and he has some passes here and there, but most of his stuff is his unreal finishing ability. So I want somebody to bring up the ball to be able to play make, initiate, and be able to score when necessary.
One thing we share, Sherwin, when I grew up, Isaiah Thomas was my favorite player. And as a point guard growing up, I tried to pattern everything I did, passing, dribbling, shooting. And Isaiah was a special player. And these two players we're about to get into now are also special, very clutch. But who would you pick in a draft? Damian Lillard, or would you pick Reggie Miller?
Oh, Reggie Miller. I think he's way more clutch. Some of the last second heroics he's done, crazy. And I don't know if it'll ever be replicated again, except T-Mac. But I think I would just side with him, and that's my mom's favorite player.
You gotta go with mom. You gotta go with mom.
Player. I do think, Lucas, when we did that comparison episode, did you did the advanced stats with Damian Lillard being slightly better clutch?
I honestly would have to go both.
I think
they were
you
both
did
super clutch.
Yeah.
If we're going with like clutch scoring in the last 5 minutes of a game, then maybe Dame got it more, had a higher field goal percentage. But in terms of situational, I mean, Dame got some last second shots off at the end of games. Not trying to take away from him there, but I mean, Reggie didn't have to do it in the last couple seconds. I mean, it wasn't just one shot that Reggie did. It was multiple times. So, that being said, we're going to go back to Boston here, and we're going to go with two arguably of the top 5 Celtics in franchise history, with Jason Tatum and Paul Pierce.
Jason Tatum.
You do not like the Celtics, do you?
One of my closest friends is a die-hard Celtics fan, but I just think that Jason Tatum is. I would draft him before Pierce.
Okay.
Way more athletic, and if we are using the modern NBA, I think that Tatum would thrive more than Pierce. Pierce is nuts. Okay. He is also crazy clutch. I think even probably more clutch than Tatum. But I think I could get more from Tatum on both ends.
Fair enough. All right. Speaking of athletic, who would you go with, Sherwin? Would you go with De'Aaron Fox, or would you go with Nick Van Exel?
I would go with Nick Van Exel. Exciting player to watch.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Please tell us why.
It's more so just I was a huge fan of what he could do.
Okay.
There's nobody faster in the league right now than Fox, but Nick the Quick is you can go both ways.
Okay.
I'm a bigger fan of Nick the Quick.
Nick Van Exel, he had it pretty rough growing up. Didn't have his father in his life. Mom worked late hours. He struggled, and even at Cincinnati, even though he was a standout star, he had a rough time. And it's one of the biggest reasons why he fell in the draft. I think he was a second-round draft pick, Lucas.
I don't remember.
But anyway, I just thought I would bring that up. I loved Nick Van Exel, too. He was so much fun to watch. So much fun.
Our next is a pair of big men, and, R.I.P. to Dikembe Mutombo. But also we have Rudy Gobert, comparing him to Rudy Gobert. Who would you rather have anchoring your defense?
I think I would have Dikembe. I think Dikembe knew his role as a defender, embraced it. I think sometimes Rudy, even though he is a great defender and he knows it, I think he gets confused sometimes that he's a number one option on the team that he's on. So
yeah.
So if I'm going to have a true defender to anchor, it's going to be Dikembe.
All right, this next one I would think is the toughest because of their popularity, their unrivaled offensive prowess at their position from their eras. But who would you pick if you had to choose in the same draft? Would you go with James Harden or would you go with Allen Iverson?
Yeah, this one is a tough one. I think what I would do is I would go with AI. Yeah.
Okay.
Iverson, while smaller, I think he was just as lethal as a scorer, but he was more of a dog than Harden. And I can't not stop thinking about the times when Harden just flat out gave up on the court, just full on there. And so if I'm I can't wipe that from why would I pick X, Y, or Z? So Iverson, I never saw that once, except his practice blow up.
Practice. We're talking about practice.
Yeah. Well, the next one are two uber athletic and skilled power forwards, Paolo Banchero or Blake Griffin.
I would pick Blake. Blake, again, way more athletic. And yeah, man, he could jump through the gym, out of the gym, into the parking lot. He was that good. Yeah. And also, he developed his shot towards the later end of his career because he didn't have that the jump anymore or the bounce. But I liked his game
a
little bit more. And full transparency, I have been watching Banchero a lot. I know he's good. I know he's massive and 6'10", and you can play outside. That's tough. I'm just a Blake guy.
Yeah, Paolo's doing some really great things in Orlando. But Blake, when he got his own team, so to speak, in Detroit, he showed all the skill that he kind of couldn't show with Chris Paul at the helm in LA. But cool, Blake Griffin, loved him as a player, and I think he's got a deal now. He's going to be calling games for Amazon, or
I'm not sure, but I've seen him on some comedy podcasts recently.
Oh, so. He's pretty good at acting. So let's go to we're coming down to the last pair. Who would you go with? Would you go with Jalen Brunson from the Knicks or Chauncey Billups?
Jalen Brunson. I just think that there's going to be a lot to him. He is an unreal scorer with his size, his frame, his footwork is next level.
Yeah.
Obviously, Billups, I think, is a better leader. But if I'm going to take one, I think that Brunson, again, a crazy dog, is a workaholic, and he can give me a lot when I give him the ball.
Yep.
Clutch too. Clutch.
Yep, that's true. Last one. This one is a little unconventional. So we compared the 1984 draft class and the 1996 draft class. If you had to choose a draft class that you were going to go with, which one was the better draft class? Which one would it be?
So the 84 is MJ's, and 96 would be Kobe. Mm-hmm. I think that I would take the 96 because there were just way more Hall of Famers on there.
Okay.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Deeper.
Yeah,
in terms
Iverson,
of
Ray Allen, right?
Yeah,
Nash.
Zydrunas
Ilgauskas.
Okay, there you go with Ilgauskas, man. He always finds a way to mention Ilgauskas.
I gotta. Yeah.
Is he from Canada, by the way?
No, he's Lithuanian, dude.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I thought he was from Canada. We're out of the time machine. We're coming down. We're about to land the plane here. 2 questions before we go. Is there a player comparison that you can think of, Sherwin, that you like us to feature in a future show? It could be current players, past players.
Keeping with the theme of like then and now. I think Wemby and Ralph Sampson. I don't know if has that been done.
So we have Wemby as our season finale, and we initially thought Ralph Sampson, but we decided to go with Wilt instead.
Wilt. I did see a graphic with Wemby and Wilt, but just of the highlights that I know I've seen of Sampson, I think he was like, and also Wilt, but he was like one of the pioneers of mobile bigs.
Yes.
Well, we do have another big ready to compare to Ralph. So
yes.
Not going to
very thin, very thin play. No, we can say who is it?
Oh, it's Chet Holmgren.
Yeah.
Oh, Chet. I was going to say Bobo.
No.
Bobo's he's coming out of shell lately.
If he gets a chance, he can be good.
Yeah. I think they're getting ready for life after KD, so Bobo's going to step in. The
other one would be MJ and Zach LaVine.
We've done one for
MJ. We did Vince Carter. Yeah, Vince Carter. That was actually our first ever episode. Yeah. We did Zach LaVine and Vince Carter, but we are going to do MJ at some point, Sherwin. You can probably guess who we're going to compare him to.
Yeah,
we just got to wait for him to retire, whenever that's going to be.
Yeah. Absolutely. And before you head out, just what are some projects or events that you have coming up that you'd like to share with us?
I thought about doing a vertical jump program.
Okay.
For athletes, but I am I never got into it in the strength and conditioning segment. But I'm not a big fan of vertical jump development for undersized guards. Sounds weird, right?
Right.
Very counterintuitive.
It's a safety issue. Right.
Partially, it's we have a lot of sort of the dream for any undersized guard is to dunk, and then it establishes their dominance on the floor. But the vertical jump program should never ever be done by somebody undersized. It should be a well-rounded strength and conditioning plan that leads to an increase in vertical jump. So I always put in speed as the number one, speed, agility, quickness as the number one driver behind any undersized guards. And the end result of that is obviously an improved vertical jump. But if we have just this solely vertical jump program for undersized guards, which sells like millions and millions of those programs sell, you're actually doing a disservice. And then, just like you're saying, a safety issue comes because now we have like a bunch of Kemba Walkers. Now their knees don't work well because they're focusing too much on one thing.
Yeah, fair enough. So I lied. There is one more question. Where can our guests follow you? And give us some social media handles, your website. Go ahead and give us that.
Yeah. Okay. So my Instagram handle is at Sherwin Vasallo. I also have X, and that is at Sherwin_Vasallo. I also have TikTok, but I'm not there often at all. And then my website is www.accelerationperformance.ca.
Awesome. Well, Sherwin, it's been a blast. We enjoyed having you on. Your story is inspiring, and we hope that you continue helping young people develop their skill as well as their strength and conditioning. And we hope to have you back on this summer for another check and see how things are going with the app, your training, and obviously get you back in the time machine.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. And thank you so much for, number one, following and paying attention to my contact and obviously inviting me onto your show.
Absolutely. Glad to have you on.
Absolutely. All right. So that's it, guys. I'm Uriah with NBA Now and Then, the greatest comparisons, along with Lucas Johnson and Sherwin. Check out his app. If you're a young person and you're training, you're trying to get better, you got to watch his content. Go to Canada. Go take his class if you have to. So that being said, we'll see you guys next time. Take care.
See ya.
Bye-bye.